everyone. Happy Friday. Thank you for being here. Glad you all could make it. I am going to... Why does everything... Is my camera like a little bit off center? Did I like move it a little bit? I think I did. All right, that seems more like it should. All right, let me get the chat connected here. YouTube has, for some reason, completely changed how the back end looks. And now I'm all out of sorts, and I don't know why they changed it. Things are in different spots now. There's new things. I don't understand what they even are. How do I get to the pop-out chat? Oh, there we go. Okay, great. Perfect. Amazing. Let's change that real quick. And just so we can get everything all synchronized. But I hope you all are doing well. There is a new video up, by the way, as well, if you haven't seen it yet. So really quickly, before we get into it, I want to make sure that you all know that if you haven't been here for a while, we still are doing a Q&A here every week. That hasn't changed, but we are trying to streamline the process of getting to people's questions. And YouTube has a new feature where you can go to the Q&A part of the live stream. You can, it's up there, you see there, little white box pinned at the top of the chat. If you put your question in there, I will see it. Other people won't be able to see it. So if you want feedback from other people in the audience, if you want it to be more general, still put your question in the main chat, but that just highlights it and saves it, because YouTube is really bad at actually like saving questions and saving the chat history over the course of the stream. I don't know why, but like halfway to like 2/3 of the way through a stream, usually to like dump the first half of the chat, and I won't be able to see anything. So if you are here early, I highly recommend you put a question in there, because that'll make sure I can get to it. You can also use a super chat. You can also go through Streamlabs. It'll be linked down below, and it'll highlight your question on stream. And then that'll just make it really easy for your question to be read and answered right away. But usually here on Fridays what we do is a little interactive Q&A. So we hang out on Fridays at 6 p.m. for about 2 hours. And I answer questions that you all put in the chat. I oftentimes will put a couple of suggestions for topics in the title of the live stream. Just things that have been on my brain recently. I'm actually currently working on a video about contracts, because I have not talked about contracts in a video in almost 10 years. I have a video from, I think it was March of 2016 was the last time I made a video about contracts. So we're currently going through the process of doing a couple of videos where I just revisit older topics, and I have a lot more experience with contracts now than I did almost 10 years ago. So look forward to that. That's going to be a fun one. Might even end up being a two-parter depending on how this ends up going. But thank you so much, Sean, for the beginning of the stream super chats. We also have memberships here on the YouTube channel. They're very simple. It's 99 cents a month, or you might get gifted one if you're part of these live streams, and it gives you access to the emotes in our chat, which are very cute, and they're of me and my dog, which, speaking of that, I do not have the pet camera on. I know I have it physically on, but I didn't have it like that window turned on for some reason. She is currently sleeping in like her little cave back there, I'm pretty sure. Oh no, she moved. Okay. She moved a little bit, and she's still technically, I don't know if she's visible back there with the curtains closed. You guys can like probably can't see that. It's like looking at the panda exhibit at the zoo. I'm like worried to go over there and like make it brighter, because then like what if she wakes up and she moves? I don't know. Hi, puppy girl. Just gonna open up the window a little. Ew. Being underneath the table. You do like being underneath the table. There we go. Now we can see her and her cuteness, and I'm sure that she will move. Hi, sweetheart. Oh my goodness, she is such a precious angel. I love her. And welcome to the new members as well. So that is did it freeze, or let me see. Oh no, it moved. Okay, she was just like holding on to a pose for a longer period of time than she normally does, at least looking at me. But yes, we have an interactive Q&A. We also have memberships. Please be respectful of the mods. Listen to me and the mods. Thank you very much. Don't spam the chat. In general, I answer questions in the order they come in. If you want to skip to the front of the line and make sure I get to your question, you can use a super chat. You can also use Streamlabs down below. It does the same thing. $80 amount, it'll highlight your question, and then I'll answer it right away. And yes, she is a very cute, precious puppy. It sounds like it's time for an update to contract terms and conditions. Very, very much. Yes, please be respectful, and it's okay to be weird, not offensive or unkind. Yes, that is a great point. Fully agree. She is definitely the mascot of this channel. I mean, how could you not want her to be a mascot? She is just simply adorable. All right, and da-da-dum. Let me see here. What was it? I just had an idea of like what I was going to do, and I lost it. Oh yes, Sean has a story for us that he would like to be shared, but it's longer than what we can put in any of the chat services. So I'm gonna look for this old message, get an update from Sean, the official live stream correspondent on the ground, doing kinky stuff and sharing it for our entertainment and benefit, which I greatly appreciate. Alrighty, I'm gonna grab the message here. And there we go. So I don't know if I need to do like this is what you missed last time in the Sean universe. But Sean has been a practice, I believe a practice bottom, or was going to do that. And here's the update. My first night as practice bottom was fairly uneventful. Halfway through the night, a woman came up to me and started a conversation about face slapping and how she didn't know how to do it right and was worried because she already did it with her friend and was concerned. Oh, that is some advanced practice bottoming, is being willing to be somebody's face slapping dummy, because anywhere in the face, especially, well, it's easier if you have a big head and you're being hit by small hands. That's easier than the combination I normally end up with, which is small head and big hands. It's small target, big thing hitting it. The reverse of that, a little bit simpler. But yeah, you don't want to hit the eyes, don't want to hit the ears. Lots can go wrong. Sudden movements, angle change can make that go from really fun to really not so fun. But anyways, you want to hear my opinions about face slapping, we can talk about that more. Any case, moving on. I asked her if she wanted to learn, but she asked how. I showed her my lanyard as a practice bottom and told her we could go to the hands-on tasting booth and she could get hands-on experience, pun intended. Yeah, because of the face slapping. All went well and she was very happy. Excellent, good. My night didn't end there, as our surprise booth was needles, one of my favorites. Ooh, yeah, especially for practice bottoming. Yeah, a lot of people are like, I want to know how to do this, but it's a lot harder to practice needles on a pillow than it is flogging. One of the two tops for the booth had their birthday at midnight. As things got slow after midnight, I went to have some needles placed. The birthday top was told by the other to use me as her canvas, as they had played with me twice before with a max of 12 needles. Long story short, we did 56 needles for her birthday present. Oh, because I said like 56th birthday. That's cute. And they were so excited. As for me, I had a first as I hit a light to medium subspace from the needle scene. I think it was due to the number of needles, which were all on my back. The top was great, as they got me a chocolate chip cookie and made sure I hydrated before after she let me get up. Yes, gotta stay hydrated. It actually reminds me to stay hydrated. Waiting to find out what my next time to practice bottom will be. Great time overall, and pictures are on my FetLife. And if you want to see the pictures, you can go to Sean's FetLife. If you're in the chat currently, there should be a way to be able to access that. But practice bottoms, man, they're so important. And thank you for your service. Thank you to my camera for always trying to focus on my water bottle for reasons that don't fully make sense to me. Every time, every day. But thanks for the update. Wow, 56 needles. That is nothing to sneeze at. I have a weird relationship to, well, I don't know if it's weird, actually. It's all relative, right? Isn't it? I feel like I have a weird relationship to, like, bloodplay and, like, needleplay and stuff. Like, do I like the sensation of, like, needles and scalpels and stuff? Like, yes, kind of. But I've never intentionally, and maybe I should try this at some point because now I'm curious. I've never intentionally done a needle play scene for the purpose of trying to get to subspace and trying to do a lot of needles. Like I think the max I've done at one time is probably like a couple dozen, but definitely not 56, definitely not 100, definitely not that many. But I am curious what that would be like to do, because I'm on the spectrum of people that enjoy playing with sharps. I am definitely not a med-fet person. I'm not a medical play person. I am not doing it necessarily to do something like super artistic, but at least most people, I've done some things here and there that are intentionally artistic, but I'm not doing it because I want to do like a needle corset, or I like the idea of maybe doing staples and doing some maybe for like Folsom or something one year, doing something with like a stapled scale mail or something, because I saw that at a convention once and it just permanently stuck in my brain. But usually I'm more on the I like playing with blood more so than like the sharps part of the experience, which I feel like is a weird thing that people don't talk about. And it makes me a little sad, but I understand why, because I think that kind of realm of play has more over time because of the fact in order to do it in a safer way. And also because of how it's typically set up in dungeons. It's in like the medical play area. And so it typically takes on a pretty medical risk avoidant flavor where, you know, you're using like aseptic technique, or you're just like it's a different vibe, as opposed to like I come into it more from like the primal side of things, and then that's different, and that's more of a risk aware approach. But I'm also not doing that kind of thing with like complete strangers either, and also a lot of dungeons don't allow the kind of play that I like to do with that anyways, because they just aren't equipped to handle that. It's supposed to be very nice, neat, orderly, right? You know, I don't know how to describe it, but you know what I mean, right? Where it's like the scene has to be very self-contained in one very particular area, and that area is like not my vibe. Like the medical play area is not a place where I feel relaxed and comfortable doing the kinds of scenes with sharps that I enjoy doing. It just makes me anxious because I don't like the doctor's office. I don't like crisp, cool white things. I don't like the smell of like hospital cleaner. And some people love that stuff. And that's just not my thing. It's just not. Yeah. I believe they're 28 years old. 56 was where they stopped because the design was done. Okay. 56, also a very reasonable number for somebody to turn in the kink community, too. Hello from the Scottish Highlands. Whoa, welcome. That's weird, actually, because I know multiple people that watch my channel that are from that part of the world, and you wouldn't think it, but it is a subsection of the audience. Come to think of it, there are almost no practice bottoms in the Portland scene, huh? Well, it seems to be kind of an unusual thing in any scene that I've been a part of. Like, I don't remember that being part of my, like, original home community. I don't remember that being part of the scene in Seattle. I don't think I've ever seen it in Portland. It's an idea that I really like, but I think in order to do that, you have to have a dungeon space where taster events are part of that to begin with, where like you just have a robust setup to where you have a tasting party on a regular basis. That's part of the vibe. People know how to organize that and run that. And then you add in practice bottoms, because obviously practice bottoms, there's a lot more risk that's being taken on with that than a practice top, because usually practice tops, I mean, there's not no risk to the practice top, but the risk is usually on the bottom, but it's mitigated by the fact that the tops are like vetted and highly experienced and yada yada. Whereas brand new top, experienced bottom, there's still a lot that can go wrong there, like with the face slapping. But if you have somebody that can be an authority and talk somebody through the topping that they're doing, and the top can receive that kind of feedback, which is not a given, it can make for a positive experience, but it just depends. It really just depends on the people. The subsection of the audience, yes, exactly. All subs who watch my channel are from Scotland. It's true. Yeah, and where are all Doms from? Like the Dominican Republic? The Dominican Republic? That's a terrible joke. I shouldn't. I feel like self-conscious as an American making that joke, so I'm going to avoid doing that. But yeah, I don't even know how I would make a video about it, but at some point, I'm sure I will weave in a conversation about... I think I actually have... I don't even know if I can make this now. I think this might just get like age restricted by YouTube, but I have a video, I think from probably like 4 or 5 years ago, talking about like why people enjoy playing with blood and like trying to separate like blood play from medical play and understanding that difference, because I think it's like with shibari, it's like with rope bondage, right? Like some people get into shibari and rope bondage because they like the artistry or a performance, and some people like, you know, humiliation and being exposed, and some people like struggle and being made to suffer, and some people like being able to relax and being able to curl up into a little self-contained cheese ball of a human. And you gotta make sure you know which one of those things you're stepping into and if you're compatible there. And I think the same thing is true with like sharps play and playing with blood, because it's like, are you a medfet person? Is it the intense sensation? Is it about permanent marking? Is it about like getting to play with the bodily fluids? Like, what's your reason? I mean, just kind of true for any kink, like understanding what your reason behind the kink is going to help you find more compatible partners than just looking on a list and saying, well, you know, you like sharps, I like sharps, let's make something happen, right? I like flogging, you like flogging, let's make something happen. With the more mainstream or more common types of impact play and pain play, you're going to find more overlap with people more easily. So I don't think people are practiced at having those types of negotiations or asking those kinds of questions, because you can have more, especially for pickup play, more scenes where it's like, hey, I like flogging, you like flogging, let's do something for 20 minutes and figure it out, where you don't really have to get into the details of what you're psychologically experiencing or your motivation behind it, because it's normally like, I like hurting people, I like sensation, ta-da, and maybe the follow-up question is like, is this a sex thing for you? And then that's sort of it, right? I don't think it generally gets as psychologically complicated on a pickup play level. Now, when you're getting into fantasy experiences and relationships and using like caning or whips or floggers as a tool for a type of role play or to get to a certain type of headspace, that's a whole other ball game. But I don't think most people are going there for like one-off negotiated pickup play, though people do like their high concept role play scenes. I will say that. With clowns, demons, those are, I'm like, should I make a play? I'm like, this is so niche, and I don't know if anyone wants to like actually know about this, but I'm seeing like clown role play's been popping off. Gentle dom, soft dom, that's popping off. Demon role play, kind of subsections of religious like kind of role play stuff, that's popping off, and I'm like, oh, I see. Interesting. Did not think that would ever be a mainstream-ish kind of kink, but it's catching on. I'm sure the Dominican does finally feel seen. You took it back. Well, yeah, maybe. I don't take it back. I just don't want to be awkward about it, but yeah. Yeah, there's definitely one. Well, at least of Dominican descent, probably. I don't, is anyone checking in from the Dominican Republic? There's probably like one person who's ever watched my channel from that country. Both the tops, aside from being blood bonded and in a relationship, are also phlebotomists. Well, that will certainly make that a lot easier. If you already have skills in phlebotomy, which from my understanding is often a huge pain in the butt to learn, you know, if you've got that skill set, you're pretty all right. You're pretty all right. Also, if you really don't mind drawing blood, that's a good gig, and it's easier to get into with modern computer systems and so on. Oh, like the phlebotomy side or like the blood testing side, or both? Because that actually is interesting, because I do wonder how many kinky folk are like into phlebotomy as a job. There's so many medical professionals. I don't typically meet phlebotomists, though. I usually meet EMTs or like nurses and doctors and things, as opposed to just a phlebotomist. But that's a great point. I wonder if there's like online training for that. Now I'm like, how do we, if you want to learn how to do blood play in a vanilla way, are there online courses you can take for phlebotomy for like a vanilla, like I'm doing job retraining kind of stuff? They get them from Amazon, like I do. Oh yeah. Interesting. I don't ever really buy medical play stuff on Amazon. I don't trust it. Like, if they're selling me fake sunscreen on there, I'm not gonna trust the needles on there. I know some people do buy them. I mean, it's been a while since I've had to buy quite a bit of stuff because I'm not usually the one with the bloodplay kit. But when I would buy my own stuff, it would usually be in person from a vendor at a convention, and they just like haven't been around, and I don't know why. I don't know if the company closed down, but the kink specific medical play supply people are just, where are they? I don't know. I can't find them in person anymore. They used to be at every con, and now they are like never there ever. And maybe that's like a hotel agreement thing. Maybe that was like pre-pandemic, post-pandemic. I'm not sure. But also, this would be information for me if somebody in the chat is like, oh, I know of like a kinky online med vet website where you can buy supplies. I'd love to know one, because I would, even if I have to pay a little bit more, I like to support kinky small businesses. And if I can buy needles for like $1 more a box from an actual person who's kinky and not fucking Amazon, like, I'll do that. It's no skin off my nose, especially because I'm not doing like 100 needle scenes all the goddamn time. Do tattoo artists and body piercers count? My daily life is blood and junkie things. I mean, there's definitely overlap there. I mean, it depends. I've definitely met tattoo artists that like are, let's say, old school in their approach and do not necessarily care all that much about the blood-borne pathogen side of things. Like, it's actually very interesting. All the piercers I've been to are like hardcore about blood-borne pathogen prevention. They take that shit real seriously. And then like half the tattoo artists I know are like, it's fine to cover it up with like a reusable plastic bag and like the fucking whatever. Like, you know, okay, just wrap it up with like a takeout bag. Keep it over your arm for like a day. Wash it probably. But like, I think that's probably changing, but it's interesting to me. It seems like tattoo artists are, not to speak to you specifically because I don't know you, but that's just my general observation. I think it can. And I think just understanding how like skin works and having a lot of experience with other people's skin does count for a lot, right? Like a massage therapist does not necessarily know about flogging, but if I had to pick between an accountant and a massage therapist who are both brand new to kink, if I had to pick one of the two to give me a flogging, I'm gonna go with the massage therapist, because they like, oh, you're like familiar with anatomy, you know, like the major muscle groups, and like you're probably really good at aftercare. Like there's degrees of transferable skills there for sure. I'd get real hands-on training because a lot of stuff can go wrong. Oh, to be clear, I'm not saying like you should do online only all the way through phlebotomy training. I'm thinking like how a lot of like there's online nursing programs, right? Like you start doing stuff online to like learn the basics of the technique, and then you transfer into real life for a practicum. That's what I was thinking, not necessarily like learning the whole thing, the skill all the way through just online, but like there's parts of EMT stuff and nurse stuff and medical stuff in general and like dental hygienistry that you can learn online to begin with, and then when it gets to a time to practice on people and have practical experience, then you do the real life and the practical experience, just as like a cost saving and time saving thing, especially because like yes, there's lots of classes on like sharps and basic needle play and sutures and things like that in the kink community, but when you're getting into more of the like medical skills, like, even suturing can be kind of hard to find. Like I've probably seen that like once or twice over the last like 5 years of conventions I've gone to, and certainly you will see people teaching it online as well, though that's obviously not the best format to learn it in. But things like drawing blood and blood drinking, that's like almost never a class. That's never a thing. And I'd love for that to be an intensive somewhere at some point, but it's just not as much of a deal. I'm getting my ears re-pierced on Sunday, and I'm really nervous about the needles. Oh, Twixie, I'm so sorry. Actually, I actually thought I was gonna have to get this piercing re-pierced because I hadn't worn earrings in it in probably like 15 years. It had been a really long time, and I actually didn't have to get anything re-pierced. We were just able to taper them back open, and it was super easy. They didn't even have to use needles or anything. It was just like, oh, those are still open. We can just like want me to like wiggle it in there, and it'll maybe be a little uncomfortable, but it's fine. And I was like, oh shit, okay. So you might even have to use needles at all. If you go to a good place, they're at least going to evaluate if you're getting, I'm assuming it's like an earlobe piercing, and if it's a cartilage thing, that's a whole other deal. But if it's, like even if you are pretty sure it's closed, like I thought mine were closed for sure, and it turns out they weren't. So maybe you will avoid having to deal with needles. You never know. I'm in a group chat with 3 EMTs. I should ask them. Yeah, definitely consult the great minds over there. I'm not going to look at the medical personnel the same way again without wondering about this. Well, there's a lot of kinky people that are in the medical world, and I mean, you stop and think about it for a second, it does kind of make sense because, medical professionals, either they learn to be or they start out like not being uncomfortable with like bodily fluids and dangerous situations and high stress environments and all sorts of stuff, and or they're drawn to it. And I think your brain has to be at least a little bit weird, or maybe you're just into it for the money. There's definitely people who are like, I'm going to become a doctor because everyone in my family is a doctor and I'll probably make a lot of money eventually, so I'm going to do that, which, especially as an American, seems mind-blowing to me, but some people do follow that path. Yeah, it's an earlobe piercing, and thanks, someone was certain they're completely closed, but I'll hold out hope. Yeah, I think that'll just hold out hope. Well, and I also, like, I used to be really nervous about needles. Oh my god, the first time I got my ears pierced when I was a kid, I like bawled my eyes out. I was so scared. I was like, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna, and I didn't really want to have it done, but like I did it anyways, and that's a whole other thing. But I had my ears pierced and it was horrible, and I like was definitely uncomfortable around needles for a long time, and then when I started to do them recreationally, it made doing all of the other things a lot more easy. Like it just stressed me out a lot less because I was like, oh, I've done this a lot, I've done it on purpose, I know I can handle it, it's not the end of the world, and this is like one needle, and I've done like way more than that before, and this is like almost the same size, so like, okay, I guess I'm just fine with this. I'm just cool with it now. So that did help for that. It's just basically like exposure therapy, really. Like, not intentionally. Like, I'm not saying you should do this as like a therapy substitute, but like, I kind of like that's the same principle, more or less, the exposure part of it, of having it happen a lot and then it being okay. But I just like, even now, I don't like intentionally try to look because I don't want myself to freak out. So I'll just like talk to the phlebotomist, and I'll just like keep my eyes away, and I'll just like breathe my way through it, and then like breathe in and breathe out, and then it's over, and then it's done. And that's my method. But like, if you have a phobia, like if it's that level, if it's really intense, I think it's always worth talking to your phlebotomist, your piercer, and being like, hey, so this is like really intense for me, and like if they're good at their job and they have good bedside manner, they will be able to help you out with that, and they'll make it less stressful because you being less stressed makes their job easier. At least this time I'm not getting them done with the piercing gun at Claire's. Oh my gosh, yeah. If you got them done with the piercing gun at Claire's, which like samesies for these. It's not what we all did back in the early aughts in the 90s. That was the only place, like, my parents were going to take me to a tattoo parlor to get my ears pierced. And honestly, even if it was back then, it probably wouldn't have been that much better safety-wise. So they are uneven, though. I have to, if I wear hoops that are too small in my first piercings here, I actually end up with them looking really uneven because they're definitely not like pierced evenly, and also like my earlobes are not even, so that's also probably part of it. I definitely regret getting Claire's piercing gun for my ears. Yeah, well, it'll probably piercing gun's how you get an infection. I healed mine fine. That was more luck than anything, because they also don't give you like good piercing cleaning solution. It's like alcohol and shit. It was like the whole process was like not good for cleaning piercings at all. But I will take heart in that not using a piercing gun will definitely make it suck less. It will be better. It will definitely be better. Bedside manner. It's not just for doctors. Yeah. I don't know if that's like a waggly eyebrow comment or like what exactly. Where is my dog? She keeps disappearing on me. Is she in her little hidey spot? Oh, she is. She is in her little hidey spot. The fall colors here are like so pretty right now. We went on a walk earlier today. Oh my gosh, there she is. Movement. We have movement in the bandit cave. Also, I have a poster on top of the coffee table. That's what's happening there. I don't dislike the sensation of needles, but I hate seeing foreign things into my body. That is basically what I experience. Like, unless, especially in a medical context, like if it's not in a medical context and it's like a power thing, then there's a bit in there that's like watching somebody else enter your skin. That's like kind of a fun power thing. But then when it's just like, I'm here to get my blood drawn, to get my vitamin D checked or whatever, like that's not fun. That's not hot. That's not a connective experience in any way. So I'm just not gonna look at that. Like I have more, as opposed to the like needles going through the skin, like the getting a vein done. I just feel like that's so much worse. When I was a teen and marginally dumber than I am now, I got my eyebrow pierced in a Denny's parking lot by a guy who had just started training for it. A cop was watching over his shoulder. That is amazing. But also, like, I feel like that's most people's eyebrow piercing stories. I actually don't know anyone personally who's gotten an eyebrow piercing that, like, went to a shop and got it done by a professional piercer. Like, it's always like, yeah, I met up with a guy named Wolf who was doing piercings and stick and poke tattoos out of the back of his truck, and, like, it's never like a hygienic, like pre-planned experience. It's always like, yeah, I was like 23 and I was kind of drunk and I was at a house party and this guy like had his needle kit with him and was like, hey guys, anyone want a piercing? And I was like, sure man, do my eyebrow, that'd be sick. And then like, that's how I got an eyebrow piercing. Which is it's by your eye, so not a fun one to get infected for sure. Yeah, it's definitely a yeah no. When we know better. All right, I've been rambling for enough. I just wanted to talk about the needle thing. I guess that was just on my brain for some reason. Let's go to questions if it'll load, because for some reason it's not right now. Okay, there we go. We have questions. So I'm gonna pop over. Found a hard limit for me, unhygienic piercing. I mean, yeah, wait, what? Top chat, live chat. Why can't I see my Q&A? Do I need to close the pop-out chat to be able to see my own Q&A? Okay, that's weird. Apparently I can't pop out the chat and also look at the questions feature. So thanks for making that feature and then getting rid of it, YouTube. What is this? Schedule your live to switch to members only. Oh, I don't need to do that. Alrighty. Yes, thank you, Sean, for the gift subs. Okay, we got all kinds of questions in here. Let's keep it going. I can't see the top of the first one because, I can't. Okay. Weird. Okay, this is from Anna Caroline. Recently talked to some subs that said tops shouldn't have the right to use a safe word. Also, yes, it is working. Thank you. I just couldn't see. For some reason, when I popped out the chat, it just wasn't letting me look at the questions for some reason. I had to go back to the main server control room for YouTube, and then I could see it. Yes, it is working. I am trying to not speed read through the questions. I got feedback that apparently I speed read through the questions and it makes it harder to understand what people are asking. So I'm going to try to slow down and not just read at the pace that my brain is reading something. So Anna asked, recently talked to some subs that said tops shouldn't have the right to use a safe word. Is this a common thing? Is it common? I I'm not sure how common of a belief that is. I don't think I've ever heard that before, so I don't think I can call it common. Like in real life, I've never heard it in real life. Other people have certainly shared these opinions on other websites before. I've seen this kind of idea pop up on Tumblr. I'm sure somebody has shared it before on FetLife. I'm sure somebody has said it on Twitter before somewhere. But no, that is definitely not a common opinion. If that idea ever was common, it was in the vein of, oh, well, they're for submissives, and I don't understand why a top or a dom would need it, but not that they shouldn't be allowed to have one, just that, like, it doesn't make sense. Well, you're the dom, you're the top, so, like, why do you need that? You can just stop the scene anytime. All you gotta do is, like, set down the toy you're using and unbuckle your sub from the cross, and, like, you're done. So, like, how can your consent ever really be violated? Which obviously is silly, and I think we know better than that now. It can absolutely be the case that doms and tops can have their consent violated, and that also that they can need safe words. And it's not even just about doms and tops having their consent violated, and that's why they would need to use a safe word, but also for all the other reasons why human beings can use safe words, like communicating something that they're struggling with non-verbally, if there's a trauma trigger, if something medical is going on that they're having trouble communicating right, like, you know, let's say in the middle of a scene, Dom suddenly, you know, they're in a dungeon and somebody opens the door and like a bee gets let in and then they get like stung by a bee or something, and they have a phobia of that, or they maybe have an allergy to bee stings. Well, then suddenly like they need to say a safe word because, like, you know, they're gonna nope out to go get their EpiPen or whatever. So physical injuries, allergies, emergencies, just like not vibing with something, whatever the reason, people have a right to use safe words. And I am concerned that anyone in real life would be like, they're not allowed to use safe words. Like, what do you mean? Where is that idea coming from? Why would you say that? Can anyone explain the Bandita Treat Fund? So I don't know why or how this happened, but this is like the big jar that tips and donations go into. But for some reason, and I don't know why, possibly a currency conversion from like a euro or a peso or something has made it so the end of the dollar amount goes out to like, what is it, 10 decimal places. And I find this entertaining for some reason. So I keep it up. I leave it that way just because I like the fact that I have a $605.42 and not even that, but like 0.4262598532. I feel like I'm reading off like the self-destruct sequence for the Enterprise when I read that. But yeah, it's I think because of that, I think somebody donated in a different currency, and then when it got converted into USD, ended up leaving a funky rounding error that got left in, basically. Oh no! What do you mean not enough video to maintain streaming? Everything looks fine on my end. What do you mean, YouTube? Oh no. Error, warning, current bitrate. Okay. Let me know in the chat if that keeps being a problem with the bitrate. If people can't see me or hear me, I'm gonna keep an eye on it. I don't know if I should try to refresh and see if that changes anything. I'm scared to do that. You know what? Why not? I don't think that'll change anything on my back end. I'll just refresh and see if it gives me the same. Oh yeah, nope. It's still saying I have the stream health is poor. But why? But why? I don't. Well, I'm not sure what's going on there. I can thank JavaScript for that. Oh, now it's healthy. Okay. I don't know what JavaScript has to do with that. All right, back to questions, except for now it says something went wrong with my YouTube chat. So now oh my God, YouTube, what are you doing? What are you doing to my streams, YouTube? Now I can't see my chat at all. It just gives me a monkey with a wrench and it says like something went wrong. Okay, that's interesting. What happened there? I'm going to try and find out. Did it like log me out of my account for some reason? What's going on? Oh, maybe that's okay. I'm going to try this and then this. I should hopefully fix it. Also, I'm sorry. I currently have a headache. It's not too bad right now, but if I seem less energetic than usual, that's probably why. Okay, let me try this and see if that fixed it. I would really I don't know why it worked for the first 40 minutes and it was like, nope. Let me connect my encoder to go live. Oh, no, did we disconnect? Oh, no. Okay, no, we're good. So much drama. I stopped mining Bitcoin and use computers, so it should be fine now. Hey, you didn't ask my consent to use my computer for Bitcoin mining. That's not fair. Oh, no. If you want to rephrase something that's in the Q&A, totally go for it. You're not spamming the Q&A. There's plenty of room for it in there. Okay, no, we're good. I thought I lost something and then I scrolled up and then I had everything. So I guess it's fine. All right. But if you want to rephrase something that was already put in there, just let me know when you're like, this is the thing that I actually want to ask, and then I'll read that one. But moving on, we have a question from Irina who asks, what are some of your favorite creative pet names? So I guess pet names in the sense of terms of endearment, like what you would call your partner. I mean, personally, I kind of like the tried and true classics. I don't think there's anything wrong with especially I like calling a femme partner daddy. I think that's cute. I'm very pro that. I like boss. I feel like boss and chief are kind of funny. I don't know if those are creative, but I think for a bratty relationship, like a brat tamer relationship, calling your partner boss or chief is cute. I also like director. Probably. I feel like more officially businessy terms don't get used very often, and also director feels sort of super villain in a lair-esque, and I appreciate that. So I don't know if you mean titles like that, or if you mean terms of endearment in a more vanilla-y way, calling somebody dear or sweetie or honey. And I've thought about this a lot, because I'm what is what's a good name to call people? What do I like calling people? And I feel like the more creative they are, they just become so personal at that point that it has to be organic within the relationship, and it's hard to give suggestions for what they might be in the abstract. I don't know. I like Missy, little Missy, or just Missy, or ma'am, and things like that. I think are cute and kind of southern. That's how I infer it, at least. I think for masculine people it's a little bit harder. My brain just keeps blanking out, and you got it, Chief. Yeah, exactly. For some reason, my brain is screaming Captain. Well, I did mention Star Trek earlier, so that might be why. But yeah, I think Captain's a great one. I know somebody who used to go for that. I don't know what that's about. I don't know either. Or I should say Southern drawl, less hick sounding. Yes, yeah. I have a bit of a Southern twang despite living in the Northeast, so Darlin is my go-to pet name. I think that's a cute one. I do like that. A little, I prefer Darlin with just dropping the G entirely on the end versus Darling. I feel like it's a different vibe. There's sort of sort of 1940s silver screen darling versus darlin. Can you hear the difference? I think it counts. At LOL, nickname my partner Egg, and now that's just what he goes by day-to-day life, even with friends and family. Oh, you mean like the egg who's in our chat sometimes? That egg? Or do we have 2 eggs in our mess? 10 more, we'll have a dozen. So think about that, people. I think egg is funny. Egg's a cute one. Or like unconventional like animal terms, like otter, like somebody's little otter, or like a snail, which is like a German thing, I think, because it's like Schnecke, I think, or something like that. I don't speak German, so don't bother. I don't know how to say it. At the school roleplay, one of them used, is that chief or chef? Yes, that egg. Brilliant. I love it. Chef is also a really good one. My new dom tried out Cooper on me last week and I absolutely love it. That is adorable. I feel like if you have kind of like a gremlin-y, goblin bratty energy, Goober would be very cute. In terms of like kink stuff, I definitely like I like more objectifying stuff, so I like creature or thing or like possession. I like things like that personally. I think a femdom saying darling like Edna Mode would be fun. Oh my god, you're right, that would be cute. I would love that. It sounds a little patronizing, kind of, and that's why it would work, because I think you can do it in a way where it's a dominant towards a submissive, and then you can do it in a submissive way towards your dominant as well, where you're like using a term of endearment for somebody that you care about. Yeah. Truly one of the entrances of all time. Wait, now your name's Gentleman Eggy. Yeah. You've been fully announced on the stream. Welcome back to the live stream, Egg. One of our where's our Vladimir? It's Halloween season, and our Vlad the Impaler cosplayer / role player is nowhere to be seen. Where is our Vlad the Impaler? Just when I needed him most, he's gone. My husband calls me slave wife. Yeah, definitely don't bust that one out in the Denny's parking lot for sure. That's definitely an inside pet name. We're not using that at the grocery store. Oh, Buddy. Buddy is cute too. Yeah, Buddy has been my generic go-to around work, but in personal life, I prefer Doll. Oh, Doll is a really good one. Yeah, I like Doll. Yeah, Doll's a good one. I think Buddy's also good because it is more masculine, but also sort of bottomy. So it both sounds like something you would expect a bratty submissive to call their dom, and also something that I would expect a dom to call their like masculine bottom / sub partner. And I like that it's that diverse and can work in multiple different directions. And then Doll also, again, it's sort of that like, it can be kind of like a silver screen, taking a puff on a cigarette and being like, what's up? How you been, Doll? Like that kind of thing. Versus, like Doll in more of an objectifying dollification way. But I think it's cute. I like Doll. Ooh, a labyrinth-themed costume for a party. That sounds really fun. I mean, there's probably going to be a lot of Jareths there, so probably pick a different labyrinth character before it just becomes the Jareth cosplay convention. I do miss Vlad. I don't ever know if Vlad was like a good-natured troll or not, or like what was going on there, but I just enjoy the fact that was a thing that happened on my stream for a little bit. Maybe, Egg, did you win? I think you scared him off, Egg. I think he was like, I, Vlad the Impaler, submit to the superior will and strength of the egg, a creature I cannot conquer because it lacks blood. What if that's the answer? The egg is just a natural mortal enemy of a vampire because there's no blood inside of an egg. I don't think is there blood? At what point in an egg's... Well, when it's just an unfertilized ovum, there's no blood in there. But at some point after an egg's been fertilized, like a chicken egg, there has to be at some point, like, there has to be blood in there. At what point in the process is there blood in a chicken egg? That's an important question. Could a vampire get sustenance from an egg? Oh my God. What if we are all in a giant Denny's parking lot? That would be crazy. Yeah, just meet up in a Denny's parking lot. Unfortunately, Denny's is not vegan, so we will have to find a vegan equivalent of a Denny's to go to for the Denny's parking lot meetup. Actually, it's kind of funny to think about 100 people all hanging out in a Denny's parking lot. But we need to have somebody with a truck whose name is Wolf that can do eyebrow piercings, I think, for that to be... Maybe we can do like a tailgating thing. Maybe we can just like everyone pull up with your trucks, bring an electric griddle. We'll have a little tailgate cookout thing, and we'll make pancakes and eggs. Or we won't cook eggs because that might be offensive. I don't know. We'll do mung bean vegan eggs. How about that? Then no one's offended. Is everyone happy? Probably not. But no offense would be going on at the very least. I think there can be blood in the yolk, but I don't know if that's from the hen. I think that's from the hen laying the egg. I don't think that's from the egg itself. What is blood? What defines blood specifically? I don't actually know. If you have to give a medical definition of what blood is, I don't like... It's the ferrous substance that transports oxygen inside of the veins of animals. Is that close? Is that good? What is the definition of blood? What is blood? Philosophically. It's a specialized bodily fluid that has 4 components: plasma, red blood cells, white blood cells. I could say vertebrates, not animals. That would be more accurate. That delivers necessary substances such as nutrients and oxygen to the cells and transports metabolic waste products away from those same cells. There you go. That's the actual definition, apparently. So, squirt, not blood. Turns out. Fun fact. Tears, not blood. Spit, not blood. Urine, also not blood. Lots of things are not blood. Perfect date night, drunk at 8 a.m., moshing to death metal in a Denny's parking lot. Yeah, I mean, at that point, I would expect somebody to, like, get married. Like, hey, why don't I just, like, pop over to City Hall real quick? Make this thing official. What the fuck? I remember what the fuck is up, Denny's. I have not thought about that in so long. And if you do not know what the fuck is up, Denny's, honestly, won't even be mad. Just leave my stream briefly and go Google what the fuck is up, Denny's. And your day will be brighter for it. Denny, I think we just decided that Denny's is just everyone's new pet name. Denny's costumes. So good. Until we know what defines blood, we don't know when blood exists. Yeah. But can blood exist outside of the body? Is this like a lava magma question? Like, once the blood leaves the body and it is no longer part of the circulatory system, it is no longer performing the function of transporting oxygen and nutrients around the body, then is it still blood? I think that's a question that's not answered by the current definitions. Is it that it has the intention to do that? That its purpose, its meaning is to do this? Or does it come from something else? Philosophers debate. That's your debate question for Debate Corner this week, is when does blood stop being blood? If I mix blood with water, how much water do I have to add to the blood before it just becomes water with just water? What is the homeopathic ratio for blood? Somebody's done this before. This is a thought exercise that somebody's actually done. All right. Let the blood questions continue, I suppose. And I will continue to answer questions. Intro noise, I guess, for some reason. I have just started a new dynamic with a wonderful person. She has 2 kinks that are unfamiliar to me: corruption and coercion. I understand the concepts, but I'm not sure how to enable those kinks. Ooh, good question. Big question. So... actually, corruption is sort of an interesting one, because I imagine even a lot of people here might not know exactly what that is. So, and I don't know there's not a dictionary definition for this. This is my interpretation of what corruption is. So corruption is typically, though probably not always, a subset of religious flavored or like outwardly overtly religious role play in which somebody is role playing being corrupted by an evil force. No, not always, right? You could have a role play where it's like a demon getting like corrupted by an angel into being good and like becoming an angel, which I feel like is the plot of a manga. I have a vague memory of reading before at some point. But usually it's something like, you know, a priest or a nun or like an innocent lay Christian accidentally summons a demon or gets a cursed object or is haunted by something and then gets corrupted over time into like sexual depravity or breaking their vows of chastity or doing immoral acts or other things along those lines. So it's typically more of a like a role play heavy sort of kink, because it's not really necessarily about the exact play that's happening. It's more the mental and emotional side. And then there's coercion, which I can absolutely see why that would overlap. I think we maybe more likely understand what coercion is about, which is like being talked into doing something or being convinced to do something that you otherwise would freely choose to do. So that's kind of just some basic definitions for people in the chat. So if you understand those concepts, that's great. If you're not sure how to enable those kinks, they are more roleplay heavy. So honestly, what I would probably do is, if this is a new relationship, I would start just by doing like text roleplay around this. Like if you have a chatty relationship, you text back and forth, like practice playing out one of these elements in a role play scene without actually doing it for real, because that'll give you information about what your partner wants to experience physically and like psychologically, and you don't actually have to like buy any costume pieces. You're not actually trying to do that role play for real, and that gives you an entry point to understand, okay, what elements of this exact thing is this person into, why do they like it, what direction do they want to take things in, that kind of deal. That'll kind of like scratch that itch. Obviously, the next other big thing that you can do, and it's always a suggestion because it just has to be right. This is the Q&A equivalent of me checking your blood pressure. All right, this is a vital sign. We just got to do it. It is what it is. And we basically have to just talk to our partner. That's what it's about. We just got to talk to our partner and be like, hey, I'm like, I know you're into these things and I'm super excited about exploring them. And I would love to figure out how to make this a thing that we could do in real life. Like, how do you see that being implemented? Like, what parts of it? Because it's like, is it the role play? Is it the psychological aspect of it? Is it the physical kinks that are part of their fantasies, but maybe the role play isn't as necessary? And depending on what their answer is, it'll help tell you what direction to go in. Like maybe, like I know people like this that are like super into like religious role play, and they want like the whole costumes, the whole 9 yards. They want to like be on a church like prayer kneeler. They want to have a full authentic nun costume, right? And what they want you to do is just like, you know, dunk yourself in red body paint and whisper bad thoughts in their ear, and then like give them an over the knee spanking as like Daddy Satan, right? That's the scene they want. It's like mostly about the role play, a little bit about the physical. Whereas other people are the total opposite way. They can kind of theater of the mind the role play parts, but what they really want is the physical and the psychological aspect, which is a little bit harder to point out how to do in the abstract, but would usually involve a like lead up over text or having much more of like a talking element during the scene, and that can be facilitated easily with like a blindfold, for example. So that way, when you're talking to your partner about what you're doing while you're doing, it just makes it more easily believable. I wonder about corrupting a vegan by having them ceremonially drink cream. I actually like this idea. That might be interesting for a field profile. Top looking for vegan to corrupt with dairy. I mean, if you're willing to pay the digestive consequences for specifically giving a vegan dairy. I guess. I feel like that's because, well, it depends. Plant-based people, maybe that would be okay, but for moral vegans, like, that would be really hard. Like, most people that are doing, like, corruption roleplay are not, like, dyed-in-the-wool, hardcore, born-again Christians. They're usually atheists who had a really religious upbringing and probably some religious trauma. Which maybe there's a Seventh-day Adventists are vegan, so, like, you might find somebody who, like, used to be vegan and wants to roleplay being a vegan, being forced to drink milk or something. But I could see that, like, role-playing or being something that you're not really. That could definitely be a thing. That's not nice for moral vegans. Well, yeah, but I mean, like, speaking as somebody who's, like, a moral vegan, not just, like, a dietary vegan, like, I would not play with, like, that's actually something I negotiate in, like, my contracts. Is I tell people, like, you're not, like, really, even for, like, CNC and stuff too, like, I'll be like, okay, these are the things that's okay, here are the hard absolute never ever knows, and one of the hard red never ever knows is things that would compromise my morals, and for me that includes, like, being made to consume animal products. So, like, doesn't milk, meat, honey, anything like that, at least intentionally. Obviously things happen by accident, things get mislabeled. You go to an Asian restaurant, they don't know what veganism is, and they get vegetarian and vegan mixed up, and then, like, you accidentally have some of the oyster sauce in it. Like, that happens. That happens. Hopefully not often, but, like, that's very different than, like, you know, here's the dental gag, open wide, here's the straw, now I'm pouring milk into the back of your throat. This is really just the vegan version of that scene idea I had, like, a week or two ago, where I was, like, I playing with, like, I think it was, like, a fitness himbo bottom, and, like, fucking up their macros by, like, force feeding them sugar water. Like, it's like, you haven't had refined sugar in 3 weeks, and now you're gonna have, like, 500 calories of liquid sugar. Wahaha. Like, I guess, you know, I guess it's gonna come back around to veganism at some point. Is that particular bodily fluid considered non-vegan? I've never heard anything on it, and I've been stewing in my mind for a few days now. What is that particular bodily fluid? I don't know which one you mean. Well, if it's a thing that comes from a human, so if it's a thing that's given consensually from a human, no matter what liquid it is, yes, that liquid, yes, that liquid, yes, also that one, and that fourth one you just thought of, all of those, if it's coming from a consenting adult human being, those are fine. That's vegan. Don't worry about it. That's okay. It's non-human animals that are incapable of giving consent because they're non-human animals, and they, like, you know, they can't say yes or no to anything that's happening to them, and they can't opt in or opt out. That's when it's a problem. But humans are all good. Humans are a free game. We did discuss this before. If it's human milk from a willing donor, you're in the clear as far as morality. Yes, exactly. Yeah, all the fluids. All of them. They're all good. Again, that one. Yep, that one's also fine. That's good. Willing donor. That's the main thing. Can you be an ethical vampire? I think the answer to that question is yes. I think you can. As a server, it's intensely frustrating how many servers don't understand the difference between vegan and vegetarian. I'm neither, but I just assume it should be basic human knowledge. I mean, I also think it would be basic human knowledge to know the difference between a food allergy and a preference. And yet there's a lot of people who hear tomato allergy and go, oh, well, they just don't like tomatoes. And it's like, no, this is not a pick the tomatoes off of the burger scenario. This is a change your gloves, wash your hands, put new gloves on, make a burger from scratch, nowhere near a tomato, in the tomato-free zone. That's what that means. I should learn more about vegetarians and veganism. Not gonna lie, I doubt it's for me, but it means I understand eating more is worth it. Well, that's cute, but yeah, it's a whole web. The unfortunate part is there's, like, just not a lot of good resources online that aren't, like, kind of annoying. But there are, like, some philosophical vegan stuff if you, like, look on, like, websites and things like that are probably better at explaining it. I would not look at YouTube videos because I feel like YouTube videos just sort of inherently end up being cringe. All right, that's eggs, I guess, and Denny's parking lots, and corruption and coercion. Did I answer that question fully? Did I say everything on that I wanted to say? I don't think I did. So, I think it's about talking to them about like, okay, if you're not sure how to enable those kinks, what would be stepping stones into doing that? Have that conversation with them, figure out what the building blocks are, and then like play with those individually, and then eventually like build them up over time into a larger scene. And then like don't be afraid to get weird with it. Listen, it's Halloween. If you go to Spirit Halloween store, whatever the fuck, if that's a thing, maybe you don't live in North America, but I'm assuming you do. If you live in America, Spirit Halloween, baby, online Halloween stores, there are all kinds of options for costumes. Trust me, you can get all kinds of demon, devil, angel, nun, priest, evil priest, satanic nun, satanic priest. You can get all that all on the interwebs and in real life for probably some amount of money. They're probably not super cheap. I remember Halloween costumes when I was a kid actually being like kind of expensive. But that can be a good way to get into it. I think that there's no shame in using a Halloween costume as a stepping stone into figuring out if you like something or not. And then if you like it, if it vibes for you, then you like keep going with it. I also think like building a scene space and doing a theater of the mind thing where it's more of like a verbal role play with some physical component could be really good. So like focusing more on like the sensory deprivation, maybe some like light bondage, right? Like, you know, you can have them like kneeling on the ground and have them like have their like hands bound in like a front prayer tie kind of situation with their hands together. You can have a blindfold on them. You can put earplugs in them or a gag in them, whatever combination of things you like to do. And then you can play like church choir music, or I don't even know what like a demonic soundscape would sound like. But I'm sure that somebody has on YouTube a playlist for like, okay, your party is in hell, you're playing Pathfinder, you're playing D&D, here is the soundscape and the visual aids for being in Avernus. So there you go, here's the Avernus playlist. And that could be fun to play with to give kind of more of immersion. You can get like church incense. You can get prayer candles. So you can make kind of the ambiance of that area. And then it can just be like verbal role play back and forth. And then maybe a little bit of something physical. But again, it depends on like, okay, where they have this interest, but like, where is it coming from? Why are they into it? Oh, and thank you, Sean. Thank you so much for the gifted subs. I appreciate it. And for the donations as well. I think that's probably about what I want to say in the corruption thing. I have a video, I think, from like a year or two ago where I talk about corruption roleplay and religious roleplay. I'm pretty sure corruption roleplay is like a small part of that video, but there's so many directions you could take that in that it's really about knowing the specifics of what your partner wants and giving it a whirl. I've made a few demonic soundscapes of my own. That is funny, yeah. I guess you can do that. I mean, there's music out there for everyone, is what I will say. I think D&D, because it's so popular, there's all kinds of different D&D music playlists on whatever app you like using, YouTube Music, Spotify. There's curated public playlists you can go to that are really easy for helping you make an ambiance for a roleplay scenario, especially ones that are more fantastical that you might find in a roleplay setting, whether it's, you know, like modern vampires or pirates or going to hell or like a church or a clerical environment. Like those are all things that exist in the D&D universe, or at least can from the rule set. And so somebody's probably made, especially like nature-y stuff, if you want to like do like primal roleplay inside, all kinds of nature soundscapes, all kinds of things to help you get into that headspace for sure. Alrighty, more questions. I like that one though, corruption roleplay. I am planning on doing some Halloween videos this year. I'm probably going to be doing one, although it's like, how are we already halfway through October? I'll probably do one. I really want to do one on clown roleplay because I've been saving doing one on clown roleplay for the Halloween season. And then the Halloween idea video that I had from earlier on this month, where we talked about like Lord of the Rings roleplay ideas, and doing that for like more kind of like fantasy and Halloween type franchises, I guess. Sounds weird to call them that, but I suppose that's what they are. Would you ever do, would you ever do any consulting work if a psychologist requests it? It depends. I don't know what they mean by consulting, so it's hard to say yes or no to that. I think of what that means is somebody wants to generally pick my brain about kink, and somebody's like, I've had to, I've had casual conversations at least with vanilla medical providers and mental health providers about like, hey, I do BDSM and this bruises from this thing, or like, yes, I have a bite mark here and it's fine and here's why, and like kind of introducing them to that concept. Oh my gosh, thank you. I think this is from, does it say Carol? Or I'm not sure how you pronounce your name, but it says, Sean is a great correspondent. That is a fact. Denny's parking lot or actual workshop. Yes. Well, I am going to be teaching at Dark Odyssey Surrender in a couple weeks. So if you want to see me there, I will be teaching not in the Denny's parking lot, but inside of a hotel in San Jose, which is not necessarily that close, but also it's not that far away either. But thank you, I appreciate it. But yeah, if it was like not a specific client per se, not trying to help with case stuff, but I generally have clients that are kinky. I generally am curious about working with clients who are kinky. Talk to me about this. I feel like I'm equipped to do that, sure. But if it's like I have a specific case of a specific person, that I'm a little unsure about. I don't know if that's like an appropriate role for me to be in. I guess it would depend on like what kind of consulting they wanted me to do. Because if it's just like they're telling me this story and I'm concerned about if this is real or not, or like if I should be concerned as a clinician about this. Is this typical, right? Is this like something that's like commonly done in the community, right? Like if the story they tell me is like this person says they're a fin sub and they're donating literally every last penny in their bank account to like a pro dom, and that they do like blackmail role play and stuff, I'm gonna be like, yeah, that's pretty extreme. People maybe do that sometimes, but it's probably not a healthy idea, and it's usually not promoted as a thing to do. Like, that feels like the kind of thing I could say definitively, like, yeah, is that normal? Like, what is normal? Is it common? No. Is it advisable? Probably not. Also, if you're in the Bay Area and you go to a Denny's, I would be remarkably sad. Find a local diner. Yeah, like, the Bay Area, so many places to go. It's so big. There's so many places in the Bay Area to even go to in the first place. It's basically like 4 cities smashed together. You have so many options that are not a Denny's. But also, do very many of them have good parking lots of any description? Reminds me, we discussed using video game boss music for scenes, especially because you can kick into higher gear when the Latin starts. Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah. When the second phase of the boss fight happens and suddenly there's Gregorian chanting, like that's how you know shit's real. Oh, that's funny. That's good. It's more to pick your mind. Oh, yeah, the picking mind part is fine. Oh, and this actually, I'm so bad about promoting this, so forgive me, I'm about to promote something. Do I have even a link for this, like, handy? I do. Okay, I do. All right, so I do virtual consultations. And I'm now doing them through Acuity, so you don't have to be on Patreon. You can just do it through Acuity. And if you want to pick my brain via a phone call or a video call, I do them in half-hour, hour-long increments, and you can sign up. And I do a lot of just regular calls with people where we just shoot the breeze. I do lots of advice segments. I do lots of things with couples. And sometimes I also have professionals who come to talk to me about things like, authors and stuff like that, or people who want to, like, start making, like, kink educational content will talk to me also. I don't think I've ever had a therapist talk to me about, like, just picking my brain type stuff before, but that's also something that I'm open to doing. So it's on there if you are serious or interested in actually doing something with me. That's a good spot to do it. All right, back to questions, and also that's for anyone can join that if you would like to do something like this. Like maybe you're a lurker in one of these streams and you're like, I have a question and it's too personal and I don't know how to get help for it. That is partly what that service is for. I do not call myself a coach. I am not a life coach. I am not certified in anything. I'm not a therapist. I try to have very bold lines around that. This is simply a way where if you want to ask me questions, there's a private specific space to do that. Either we can even do it over just text, but most, like 99% of people that I work with either do an audio call or a video call, and that's how we do things. And it's a fun time. So it's a good way to shoot the breeze. I also still do Zoom calls. Acuity is the booking website, and you can specify in there what platform you want to use. I still use Zoom. That's probably the main thing that I use, unless there's a reason I shouldn't be using Zoom for like security purposes. I give people the option, but usually it's sometimes Google Chats, but most of the time it's Zoom, and I will occasionally use other platforms depending on what's available for the person who's booking the call, because there's just so many options for that stuff now. I mean, I don't use Skype. That's not an option. No Skype. A 12-day trip to Japan next year. I'm wondering if you have any recs for kinky stuff, whether stores or dungeons, to check out while I'm there. Oh my gosh, Twixie, I've thought about this for myself. I don't have any recommendations of specific places, but I know somebody who can help you with this. All right, let's see. Okay, so there is a lovely human who we have actually interviewed on my channel before, and her name is June Lovejoy, and she's an American who now lives and works in the adult industry in Japan, and she actually does facilitated adult tours in Japan, and she can do everything from like real life in-person translating for you over to just like helping you figure out an itinerary or giving you recommendations on where to go. So whatever level, this is what I've thought about doing. I don't have any like plans of going to Japan, but like for a lot of people, it's a pie in the sky dream that maybe someday I will end up doing, because I like the idea of going to like shibari bars and going to onsens and things like that, and having like a kimono experience, like I think doing all that kind of thing. And I don't know how to speak Japanese, but whether it's just getting recommendations of places to go and making an itinerary, over to like I'm with you in person, I'm giving you a tour in person and doing translating for you, June can do that. So I think she does updates on her Twitter account of when these are reviewed and when she does bookings for things. I know she was somewhat recently, within the last like couple of weeks. She has like a Google Doc, I think, that you can fill out for tour plans, if that's the thing that you're interested in. But otherwise, I don't have anything from the top of my head that I know about. It's just like a really cool service. Is the audio hiccuping for anyone else? Oh, interesting. That could... Getting a few seconds cut out a few times. Audio's good here. Oh, weird. Okay. Well, I don't know. YouTube's being YouTube. I don't see anything on my stream end that would indicate... Like, I don't see any... In my, like, vocal profile for the audio mixer, I don't see anything that looks like it's jittering while I'm talking, or like the mic itself is having something technical going on. So there might be something happening between OBS and YouTube, but I don't think it's something that I can fix, unfortunately, while I'm live. Do I have her Twitter? Yes. Where is it actually? I know I follow her on Twitter, but I don't remember what her @ is. Let me find it. I've actually really reduced my social media consumption the last like 2 months. It's been really great. I went to Thornwood and then like wasn't on social media, and then I was like, you know what? Actually, I don't need to be on Twitter, and it's fine. I think it's just June. Lovejoy. That's not the right person. There we go. It's June __ Lovejoy. That's what it is. That's why I couldn't find it. Okay. I'm putting the link to her Twitter. Error, try again. Oh no. Yeah, there's her Twitter. Oh, never mind. It's on my end. Okay. Yeah, glitches. Apparently where people are having common audio glitches, so I'm sorry about that. I don't know what's happening. You correct your links page, reflect your site. Links where? There's so many places I have links. On my social media, I usually link to the kit website, but on YouTube, I don't ever update that. But I should look at it actually, because that's a good point. I could definitely update that. Oh my goodness, you only have half an hour left. That's crazy. But I am super excited about potential kinky Japan trips happening. That sounds like fun. I'm jealous. That sounds like a good time. I mean, I guess, get out of the country while you still can. I think she's mostly based in Tokyo. So if you're not going to Tokyo, she might not be the best option for you. But June's very kink-friendly, kink-aware, aware of all the adult stuff, very queer-friendly, very all the things friendly. And knows the ins and outs of somebody who was a professional. I think at some point she worked for a Japanese company. I don't know if she was a translator necessarily, but has full command of the Japanese language and is integrated into the adult culture of Japan. Definitely more knowledgeable about that than pretty much anybody else I know. To really, I know. I said it and I was like, oh no. But it does feel kind of real, though. Either it'll be too expensive to travel or something else. Anyways, I'm not going to think about that. Turning that part of my brain off. I'm doing the typical Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka tour. So Tokyo base is fine. Oh, yeah. Good. All right. Let's go to questions. Back to questions. Let's see, where was I? We have a question or possibly a statement. Don't see a question mark. We'll see. I've recently been discovering that I have a dom side. I was wondering if you had any advice for exploring potential dynamics with others from the dom side without it bleeding into my main dynamic. Ooh, okay. So you have a dominant partner. You have a dominant side. Explore with other people. So this is the closest I could think of an analogy for this is it's like doing parallel polyamory, where there's people like to do kitchen table and more nested together types of polyamory where partners all know each other and they hang out together and there's more group activities that they all share. And that works for some people, but that is letting other dynamics and other relationships bleed into your main relationship. And the way that this has worked in my experience is I almost wouldn't say it hasn't actually been that hard to have separate dynamics with different partners and not letting them bleed into other things. I think it would be mostly in setting up clear boundaries and expectations with other people about hey, my primary relationship is with my married partner who is dominant over me. I will make sure that rules from that relationship don't negatively impact this one, right? So if you have promised your S-type or your play partner that you're going to play with them on Saturday morning, and then your dom says, no, we're going out to brunch, as my sub, you must, right? That's going to be a no-no, because then that's causing you to violate a pre-established existing agreement with another partner, and that's not an okay thing to do. So establishing out of the gate, I have this other relationship, that's going to take probably my primary attention, I'm assuming, with regards to time but I'm going to negotiate things such that like things from that relationship aren't negatively impacting this relationship over here, and like vice versa, right? Like both respecting other people. And if something comes up where like you plan a scene or you're going on a trip or you're doing a high protocol thing, communicating that in as far in advance as you can to the other partner about, you don't have to say specifically what it is, but you can say, hey, I have plans with so-and-so, so I'm not going to be available on this day. So people like don't overbook things or get their hopes up or like wonder why you're suddenly gone. I think that's really helpful to do. And, outlining like when you're available, like for dynamic time with newer people, like is it just in like scene only? Does it exist over text message? Is it when you hang out with other people, like in person? Like, is it going to be 24/7 with other people, or is it just going to be time limited, you know, when we're in person together, on weekends, on certain days of the week? Oh my gosh, I'm losing my voice, I think, a little bit. Excuse me. I think as long as you are, like, the way that I see this go sideways is people who don't set expectations and then just say, like, well, I'm just going to treat everyone exactly equally. And, like, that's going to be simple. So, like, whatever. And then they don't communicate in advance. And then people get hurt because they think, well, but, like, you're my dom, so, like, you should be giving me all this time. Or you should be available during this. And if you're being really clear up front about where your priorities are at, then it's going to be, I mean, people can still get their feelings hurt, but at least it's not going to be like your fault for misleading people, right? So that is probably what I would do. I also think, like, having good ways to signal to yourself, like, headspace shifts, especially if you're, like, going outside the home and playing with somebody else and then coming home. Having some way to signal to your own brain, like, okay, dom time is over, sub time is over, now we're going back into one or the other with somebody else. And that can be like with your aftercare that you do. Maybe it's some kind of like ritual you do before you come home. Maybe you pack like one outfit, you wear one outfit on the way to this event with somebody else, and then on your way home before you leave, you like change into a different outfit. Having something to signal to your brain that like you're moving from one side to the other, I think is really important. And it also build up your emotional association, so it's easier to get into those headspaces using those objects, whether it's, you know, makeup you're wearing or perfume or clothing or the way you style your hair, because all that can contribute to the way that you feel in certain spaces and making those distinct from other ones, if that makes sense. So that's probably what I would do. And I think as long as you're doing some combination of those things, it'll be easier over time. It'll get easier. And I think just it's a matter of like checking in and understanding that there are going to be times when like you might leave a really highly charged scene environment with another partner and you might not have time for as much aftercare as you want or as much time to decompress before you walk into your space with your other partner again. Like setting up time or a way to communicate like, hey, I need more time to kind of get back into this headspace, and either having a way that your partner can help you get there or just like negotiating that it's okay for like some degree of solo time, like, you know, 20 minutes or an hour or something, and that knowing that like, yeah, when you're switching from one to the other, for a lot of people, there's going to be some finicky stuff there. It's all just kind of hypothetical since I'm only just starting this and I don't have a sub partner yet. It's just that I find it hard to readjust to my sub mindset after a while of exploring the dom feelings. And yeah, for sure, I think it'll have to be something I adjust by doing, changing outfit and readjusting the surrounding aesthetics is a good idea. Yeah, definitely. My dom understands that for stuff like that. He's been very encouraging of my exploration so far. I mean, that sounds very positive if they're encouraging, which is not surprising to me. But I am glad to hear that they're encouraging and supportive of that. And like, I mean, different people have different ways of switching too, and different methods that work for them. Like, I find it relatively difficult to switch within like the same day. So if I'm going to a dungeon, like on that night, I will probably either only top or bottom, but I probably won't do both And it's hard to switch from one to the other because I don't access my top space as often. And so if I'm getting there, I'm probably putting more work into getting there in the first place. So if I'm going to be doing a scene, or if I'm going to be going to a convention or something, maybe let's say, and I have like a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday night, I might do bottom only stuff Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday I might do a topping scene. Or I might do the opposite. Maybe Friday is topping day and the other nights of the weekend are the bottom days. Just so those things don't get as crossed. And usually for me, like once I sleep on it, I find that I reset and I come back into the other space. Especially if my partner is there with me and they're interacting with me in a way that maybe isn't like, you know, activating my like peak submissive state, but like it's still like reminding me of our dynamic, reminding me of the way that we typically play together, and it's helped grounding me in the day-to-day of what I normally do, as opposed to like doing a one-off topping scene. But yeah, maybe it's just like a matter of like having grace with yourself that like you can't necessarily switch really quick from one to the other, and it might take just like, hey, the night after I do a scene with somebody else or I explore that top side, I'm still going to be kind of in that top energy, but then when I wake up the next morning, even if I'm not totally feeling it, by acting out in my usual submissive way, I'll get back into that headspace eventually. But knowing that I might not necessarily be doing it with the most level of subbiness ever to sub. Yeah. Yeah, and like mentally preparing, I think, is good. Yeah, making an advanced schedule for subbing versus doming could help, I think, because I'm expecting it. Yes, I think for sure having an advanced plan of like, okay, this week, another Friday night is going to be my top night. So then like Saturday, Sunday, what am I doing to bring back that submissive energy and make sure that's still in my life to the degree that I want? And then just troubleshooting as you go along about what proportion feels good there, what ways of doing it. And also probably depends on what kind of topping you're going to be doing. Are we doing bondage? Are we doing CBT? Are we doing impact play? Are we doing a co-topping scene? Are we playing in a dungeon? Are we playing in private? And all of that can impact how hard it is or how easy it is for you to shift back into your normal everyday state with your partner. Oh, crap. Oh, what happened to my out of memory? Fucking Google Chrome, man. It loves eating up memory. Oh, it's probably because I opened up like 5 new tabs since I started live streaming. It probably doesn't like that I have all those tabs open while I'm streaming. Okay, waiting for stream to reload again. And going back to questions. Yes, I saw we read through the stuff from Sean already. Oh, what's something I missed that isn't sold anymore? Decker, you have gotten me right in the feels. The thing that I miss the most, there's so many things. There's like three things that aren't sold anymore that I'm like, there's nothing else like this. The Ring of Steel magnetic collars, not made anymore. Would have loved to have gotten one of those at some point. I don't know anyone who makes in America. You can get one from Europe, but metal tariffs, that's like going to be like a 500% tariff. I don't think so. I would love at some point to find a metal worker in North America who could make a hinged magnetic metal collar, because I would like to have one, if not maybe for a 24/7 thing, have one at least for scenes. And I prefer a magnetic one over a locking one, because my intention with having one of those is not to have it be a 24/7 locking collar, to have it be more of a intentional romantic kind of thing for scenes or high protocol or long weekends or something. So I miss those. Other thing that I really miss is the Hammerfell Armory claws. And that I miss more because there's less. And by the way, if anyone knows a place that sells magnetic hinged metal collars, please let me know, because I'd really like to know where they're from and who's making them, because I don't know where to find one anymore. But the Hammerfell Armory metal scratching claws, those are so much fun. I really regret not buying a set for myself when I had the opportunity to do so, because they kind of unexpectedly stopped making anything, I think because of health issues, and the design of them was really nice. I've tried other claw makers since then, and I just don't like them as much. Yeah, it's Chrome eating up memory for each tab, as Chrome notoriously likes to do. Yeah, they were just, if you haven't looked up Hammerfell Armory metal claws before, you should go look at them. They were beautiful. They came in a lot of colors. You could get them in like all different kinds of powder coat. They could make them different levels of sharpness. They were really high quality, and they weren't that expensive. And the designs for metal claws I've seen that have come out since then, I just don't like as much. I just don't think that they're as nice. So that's probably something I really miss. And then the other thing that I miss that actually I own, but that I know I will never be able to get again, is I have a thumper from, I think it's, was it Con Zept Designs or something like that. It was with a Z, it had a Z in the middle somewhere. And it was essentially it was a bat type shape, and it had a spring steel core, and then a foam middle, and then like another layer, and then marine leather on the outside. And it was really, really well made and put together. And I'm lucky enough that I own one. I own one of the large ones, and it's really nice, and it's my favorite impact play toy. It's like my go-to for everything. I love it so much. It's very thuddy. And they no longer make those as well, because also health issues. So kink toys are expensive. Finding ones that we like are expensive and can be a time-consuming process. But I do encourage people, if you're on the fence about getting something from, especially if it's unique and you don't think you can find it anywhere else, like, please think about getting it, because these artisan BDSM shops are not going to be around for forever. People get ill, or they leave the scene, or they get banned on websites, or they stop selling online and they only make things for friends, and all kinds of stuff. So you never know when things are going to go away. And I would encourage people, to just try the damn thing. And if you don't like it, you can give it away to somebody in your local community. You can try to sell it on FetLife. Like, you don't have to stay married to it. It's whatever. But, don't miss opportunities when they're there. I don't know if it's an Elder Scrolls reference or not, but it is spelled the same way. It is spelled the same way. All right, good night, Lexi. See you later. The YouTube mobile app is poorly optimized for live streaming. You don't say. It's not meant to have my 30,000 kilobits per second live stream going all the time continually. I am shocked that Bandita has not tried to make a blanket on the floor next to me. But she really likes that little hidey spot there. She really likes it. So I guess maybe I'm not No. It's like, I don't remember. I don't even have the website anymore for where it came from. So I don't know if that's right or not. But it was like Concept or something. And they sold them at a local leather shop near where I lived, which is how I got mine. I think I got one of the last ones, too, because the website had already gone down and they had said that they stopped making toys. And I had a friend who had one, and I managed to find one. Either it was in person or was on the website for, like, a local leather shop. And, like, I'm very lucky that I got one. And I'm so glad I did, because it's still one of my favorite toys. And I'm always worried about breaking it or damaging it in some way where I can't use it anymore. Because it is, like, it has foam in it. And I do have a little bit of it where, for a while, I was storing it on its side. And it has a little dent in it on one of the sides. And I've never been able to fix it. And I'm not sure if it can be fixed or if it's just sort of permanently that way. I don't know. But yes, toys and things that I miss. But the metal collar, I think the magnetic collar, I'd really like to have a lead on that. Now I'm thinking, like, maybe I'll look for one at some point. I'll poke around again and see if I can find one. How was the show last Friday? Oh, it was so good. I saw Sleep Token live in Oakland, and they were so good. The Vessel is such a good singer. I'm shocked that people remember I went to a show on Friday. It was really good. Okay, so there were two people who were in front of me. I was in a seated section, and there were two people in front of me, and one of them like kept filming almost the entire time, and then they were also filming themselves singing along to the songs occasionally, and they were posting them as Instagram reels. So somewhere I am in the background of somebody's Instagram reel looking like, what the fuck? Why are you putting me in your Instagram reel at this concert right now? I want to enjoy the music. And that was kind of annoying. And every single one of my photos I tried to take on the screen has this one person holding their arm way up in the air to like every single song. And it's like, I wanted to get the drummer in this shot, not your arm. But we are all allowed to enjoy this concert, so it is what it is. But other than that, the actual performance itself, they were right on time. There were no delays. Music was fantastic. The audience was really great. The show went off without a hitch. There was actually one little audio blip, now that I think about it. There was like an interlude, like halfway through the show, where during the blackout part of the interlude, the sound booth started accidentally playing like 5 seconds of audio from like I think either one of the upcoming songs or like a past one that actually hadn't started playing yet. And it was like, oh no, somebody's gonna get in trouble for that. But it ended up being fine. It was all good. I would definitely go see them again. But I also knew going into it, I was pretty sure that I was gonna like it because I've seen a lot of Sleep Tokens live performances just on YouTube before, and they're all really good. So I wasn't surprised. Oh, there were so many lights though. If you are sensitive to flashing lights, do not go to a Sleep Token concert though. You should have asked, are you for real? No, I can't ask that. No. No. The chainmail is every day, and Vitali ID dungeon only. I don't know what that's in reference to. I would like to have a chainmail flogger though at some point. I want to try one out at least. I don't know if I actually like it, but like those like chainmail like monkey ball floggers, but they're so expensive. They're like hundreds of dollars, and I'm like, is it really worth $350 to have this toy in my toy bag? I don't think so, but maybe I would try it and I would really like it. So never say never. Never say never. But yeah, Sleep Token was great. Had a good time. Oh my god, flights on the way in and out though. That was, my flight leaving got delayed by like 4 hours, and then my flight coming home, it was only delayed by like half an hour, but when your arrival time is already almost midnight, half an hour makes a big difference when you're getting home and you're just like, I just want to go home and reheat some chili and cuddle my dog, and I have to pick up my dog from the dog sitter who's expecting me at a different time, and now I'm there even later and it's already late, and like it's a whole thing. But I made it. It was good. We just kept having to wait for airline attendants. What are they called? Not stewardesses. Flight attendants. That's the word I was looking for. Flight attendants. A chain flogger would be hell on the wrist. I've not seen anyone use one in a dungeon, and that might speak to how much of a top killer those types of toys are. But I think you could probably, the ones that I've seen that seem to work well, the handle is like a shell that have, maybe not a shell. It's the handle, it's solid, but it's not chain all the way through. It's a layer of chain around the outside of a handle, and then the falls are all made out of chain, and they have like chain balls around them. I think that would make it so it's a little bit lighter. But even then, that would still be, like, it would be really front weighted. Like, you would need to have a counterbalance on the bottom, I think, to make it comfortable, and then it would be heavy. Oh, thank you for the 15-minute warning gift, Sean. Welcome to all of our new members. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. Let me get to some more questions because we somehow only have 15 minutes left. Oh my gosh. If you have not asked your question, please do it now, or I cannot promise I will get to it. And in fact, I still can't promise it now, but I will try my best. Oh, what your first comment about chokers? Oh, yes, because I have that word censored. Because spam bots, for some reason, love that word. Top killer means a toy that is unwieldy or typically very heavy and is difficult for a top to use for an extended period of time because it wears them out. So, like, think of like a really heavy paddle, or a poorly weighted, like, heavy mop flogger, like that kind of thing. Whereas, like, a cane, that's not typically a top killer unless maybe they have carpal tunnel, and then it might be. Aluminum chain or steel? You know, that's a great question. I think the ones that I've interacted with I've seen lots of aluminum jewelry and like anklets and things. I've not noticed whether the toys are aluminum or steel, but I think the toys are normally steel. But I don't know for sure. I haven't looked that deeply. I'm sure that would make a difference, though. Do you have any advice for vetting a potential owner as someone who wants to be a human pet? I am new to this scene, so is this something that I should gain more experience before looking for one? Yes, generally. More experience will help keep you safer. And I totally understand. I was this way when I was new. Like, I leapt in wanting to find dating relationships and partners because that's what motivates me, is like romantic relationships. So that's what I was looking for. But then I didn't know what I was looking for. But at the time, I was still in college. So the people that I was playing with and having that experimentation with were other college students for the most part, or at least similar age to a college student if they weren't even actively in school. And that lowered the risk. Whereas I think if you're a brand new person and somebody who comes along who's like twice your age and very experienced, you're not necessarily going to know if they're a good person or not. And vetting is going to work better if you are actually in a real life local community, meeting people in real life, or at least people who are part of your local community. So the level of experience I would look for is not necessarily like you need to go to dungeons and you need to do pickup play. Like, no, not that. But like going out to places, meeting people, getting familiar with the local scene, maybe doing a couple scenes if you feel like it, just to kind of get a taste of like, you know, what a negotiation is like, what you need for aftercare. Because if you're trying to go from nothing to like having an owner, like that's a lot that you don't know about yourself and your play style and how you non-verbally communicate and what your needs are, that are totally up in the air. And you're just going to know a lot more about yourself and other people and like what kind of stuff is normal or what things are okay with you if you do have more experience. But it's not to say that you shouldn't look for one, just that you need to be more cautious, or at least I would put equal effort into both sides. I would do both the trying to find a potential partner and also getting involved in the community, meeting people, doing my own solo events. Because doing solo pet events can be really fun. Like going into a petting zoo, playing with other pets. That can, especially if that's what you're into, like good way to meet friends, good way to meet people in general, good way to meet folks that are into that kink on the D side of the slash. So yeah, it's not a hard and fast rule, but the more you know, the more connections you have, the safer you're going to be, because you know more about yourself and you're going to be able to pick up on like what may not be right if something feels off in an interaction. And even when you do get into potentially meeting an owner, I would not necessarily look at it as like I want to leap into like being owned by somebody kind of thing. I would look at it more like we have the option to go in that direction. But for right now, we're just going to do like scenes in public. We're going to get to know each other. We're going to play. We're going to meet out in public for coffee. And then after doing that for a little bit, like a couple of weeks, then maybe we get into like having more serious conversations about maybe exploring DS and what does it mean to be an owner and like what kind of things would you want to see from that, and then testing the waters there. Like ideally, I think if you're going to get into like a DS relationship with someone, if you're brand new and you don't really know a whole lot yet, like that, it should take you a couple months, I think, to get to that place. That being said, I am also a hypocrite, and when I was new, I didn't know that. I didn't know that was good advice to follow. I just thought you did BDSM with partners, and I wanted to do DS, so I just like leapt into it. And it kind of worked out, but those relationships were not people I was really compatible with, so I didn't stay with them long term because we ultimately didn't want the same things and like weren't able to have the kind of relationship that I wanted to have. So it's a mixed bag. But yeah, I think that's probably about what I would say on that one. So I'm the opposite. I'm trying to avoid any and all romantic partnerships. My goal is to seek mentorship. Yeah. Okay. Well, if you want mentorship, if what you want is, well, you mean mentorship, like training or like, because that also could be a whole other thing. So what you want is mentorship, then what you should probably look for is another S-type or a switch, not an owner to train you, because I have been here, all right? I had somebody who was a trainer briefly, and I almost got into dynamics with people that would have been non-romantic that were like, I'm going to train you and prepare you to be ready for like another dom. Those are usually red flags. Do people in the leather community, for example, that's more of a common thing. That would not necessarily be a red flag. But if you're a brand new person and somebody who's like, I'm not going to be your dom, but I'll train to be ready for somebody else, that's generally a red flag that I would look out for, because what that usually ends up being is I'm going to play DS with you, but I'm not going to treat you with the respect and honor that I would give to an actual submissive. But I'm going to expect you to do all the things that an S-type would do for me. So that's but I think mentorship, if what you want to get out of that is learning more about yourself and your interests and making connections with people, then mentorship, I think, comes best from people that are on the same side of the slash as us. And ideally have the same core kinks as we do, or at least some of them. So I wouldn't even be looking for an owner if what you really want is a mentorship. And if you don't want a romantic relationship, that's very easy, because a lot of people in that arrangement aren't looking for romance anyways. Hi, puppy. Do we know that it's almost time for stream to be over? Hi, sweetheart. It's very dark over there. I can't really see you that well, sweetie. You're like kind of a little bit on camera. Oh, you're still there. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong. That camera's not up to date. You're like a little bit. Oh, there we go. Look at that smile. Look at that sweet smile. Look at that. So good. She's like, it is almost 8 p.m. It is time for you to feed me. Human. Speaking of being trained. That little girl. Yeah, thank you for the advice. Training is also desirable. Yeah. I would look, and if you're serious about training, again, I think that's something that a more experienced submissive or a switch could probably give you, or that could be just entirely self-directed. And then when you're ready to get into an actual DS relationship, call it by that name, and then like go through the trial period of doing some training, but I think honor with the level of commitment and respect that's necessary to really make that work. But yeah, I totally get it. Mentorships, I think, are a great thing for new people. But mentorships and training is like, oh my God, that's so so fraught for new people. The only people I know that have had good training relationships, and if somebody else who's in the chat currently has a different experience with this, like, please let me know, because I'm not trying to say anything universally, but this is just my knowledge and experience with this, is the only people I know that have had good, positive training and mentorship relationships when they were really new to kink were tops who did it in the leather scene, or people who generally did it in the leather scene. People trying to do that in the mainstream general heterosexual BDSM community, it's a lot of being taught one true way, being taken advantage of, being taught things in a way that was like isolating about the rest of the community, like, you know, well, this dungeon or these people don't like me and it's because they're haters and not because like you violated a bunch of people's consent, so you got banned. Like, whew, not good. Excuse me. All right, we've got a couple more minutes here. I'm going to try to do a few more questions before we wrap up today, and we will go from there. My partner has mentioned interest in a space that calls small, but she is unsure if it feels like little is right for her. Is there any... Oh, I see. So she has an interest in like a headspace that she refers to as being small. She's unsure if there's any like a little thing there. Is there any pocket-sized spaces that are known that we could explore? Hermes, I love this, first of all. That is adorable. I support this fully. I can't think of anything that's not in the realm of like there are like macrophilia and microphilia are things, but that's usually like giantess fetish content kind of stuff and not really a mainstream general kink thing. But I think if what your partner is describing is that they just feel small, like the underlying feelings that can go into like pet play or little space or whatever thing, like there's sort of a nebulous primordial soup that those things arise from, that people have attempted to label with things like being a little or being a pet. And for a lot of folks, that goes back to a feeling of being small and taken care of and being overpowered by somebody else and feeling safe and all those kinds of feelings. And for some people, the way that feeling of like smallness gets channeled goes into a little space or goes into a pet space or goes into like dollification even maybe sometimes. Maybe if you thought about dollification, that maybe she wants to be like a tiny little doll. That could be a thing. Worth exploring potentially as an option. So there's different ways that can kind of get refined. But maybe your partner isn't one of the people who wants to put a specific label on it. Maybe none of those want to really resonate with them. And so maybe they're just small. Maybe they're just small bean. And you can just be small bean. Don't have to be little and be small bean. Don't have to be a puppy and be small bean. Don't have to be a dolly and be small bean. You can just be small bean. But it could also be worth maybe doing some like exploratory exercises with them of like digging down into like, how do you visualize yourself in this space? Like when you picture being small, what emotions come up when you think about it? How does your body feel? What sort of activities do you picture doing? And that might help you narrow down what the motivations are and what it might overlap with. But knowing nothing about this whatsoever, as a random hunch, and this could be me projecting, I do feel like dollification is an underutilized vein for that. And so maybe you just don't know about that, and that could be it. That might be the thing for you. So there you go. All right. Do I have time for one more question? I think I do. I'm going to do... I know Plate had one, and I don't see the first one that I think you said you wanted to redo, so I'm assuming that maybe you just deleted it, and this is like the one that you actually wanted to do. But Plate asks, Oh no, sorry, wait, I missed one from Rebecca. Let me get to Rebecca's. And Rebecca says, hi, Evie and Bandit. Not kink related, but have you heard of the Finch app for self-care? Oh, that is very familiar. My friend told me about it yesterday, and I downloaded it. It makes self-care so much easier for me. Have I tried it? That name is so familiar. I'm sure I've seen ads for it. Finch app. Let me look at this. Oh, I have seen this on the App Store. I've never used this before for myself. But it's kind of one of those like gamified, cute apps where it helps you like do your daily habits, and like there's like a dress up part of it, I think, and some other stuff. I've never played it. I think that could be really great for littles and middles and even pets probably, because there's like an animal component to it, and just humans, just submissives who like cute things in general. As a way to help you independently track habits and build your goals. So I love that. I think that is a great thing to use. I've never used it. I'm a very old school habit tracker kind of person. I have a thing on I have like a paper like habit tracker I keep on my fridge door that I like physically check off, because I like the act of physically with my hands checking off a thing. I don't find I do as well with stuff on my phone, but that's great. I love it. All right, Papalina, you are awakening. I can see you stretching. Would you like to come over here and say hello to people? Would you like to come over here? Hello, little dog. Hello. You were falling asleep again, huh? You were. Look at that little tail. Come over here and say hello to people, ma'am. Hello. Good evening. Did you have a good nap, honey? Did you have a good nap time? Yeah, good girl. Good girl. Come here. Oh, my little old lady. Come here. Come here, my little old lady. Oh, and here we go. Sweet lady. Hello. Hello. You have something on your nose? No, you're good. You just got a little wet nose. Oh, you're so soft, honey. Okay. All right. That is going to be it for tonight's live stream, you all. Thank you guys for joining me on this Friday. Next Friday, I will not be streaming because I will be at Dark Odyssey Surrender, and I will either be in a dungeon or teaching or getting ready to teach. It's going to be a whirlwind. It's going to be a crazy time. I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend. Have a great week. If I will be seeing you at Dark Odyssey Surrender, please come say hi. And I will talk to you all again very soon. Bye. Do you want to say goodbye? Do you want to say goodbye, sweetheart? Bye. All right, yeah, we'll see you around later. Bye-bye.